Welcome to Port Hostage Diplomacy. We work to free hostages and the unjustly detained around the world. Together with their families, we share their stories every week and let you know how you can help bring them home. I'm Darren Nair, and I've had the honor of campaigning with many of these families for years. These are some of the most courageous and resilient people among us, people who have never given up hope, people who will never stop working to reunite their families. And we will be right there by their side until their loved ones are back home. Thank you for joining us. And now, let's meet this week's guest. Welcome to this week's episode of Port Hostage Diplomacy. In June 2019, French academic Roland Marchal decided to fly to Iran to spend a 6-day holiday with his partner. Within moments of landing in Iran, Roland was arrested at the airport by the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, also known as the IRGC. He was taken to the notorious Evin prison, where he would spend the next 9.5 months. The Iranian regime has a long history of detaining innocent foreign and dual nationals like Roland on trumped-up charges and then using them as bargaining chips to extract concessions from their home country. In Roland's case, the home country would be France. This is state-sponsored hostage-taking, also known as hostage diplomacy. 6 months later, in January 2020, French President Emmanuel Macron had a phone call with the President of Iran at the time, Hassan Rouhani. During this call, President Macron called for the immediate release of Roland Marchal. 2 months later, on the 20th of March, Roland was freed and flown back home to France in a prisoner swap deal between France and Iran. This is an example of Iran's hostage diplomacy, plain and simple. Today, we have the privilege of being joined by Roland Marchal himself. Roland, we're so happy you're home. And at the same time, we are very sorry for what you had to go through. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Can you please walk us through what happened to you?
Well, as you said, I was landing on 5th of June 2019 in Tehran airport, and I was preparing my visa because you could buy your visa on arrival. I was taken to a room by some people. I didn't know really who they were at first. Actually, it took me quite some time to know who they were. And then I was interrogated for the whole, I landed mid-afternoon, so up to late evening, about 9 p.m. They stopped the interrogation. I was brought to, I think, a military camp, to a camp where I spent the night in a cell. And the day after, in the morning, I was brought to Evin, where I met a prosecutor who announced me that I had different allegations against me. And then I had to give up my civilian clothes, get the jail uniform. And I was put in a cell alone. And then I was interrogated for the following weeks. And it lasted 9 months and a half, as you said.
I know you're a researcher, well known for your studies of the civil wars that have ravaged the Horn of Africa. Can you talk to us about your background?
Yeah, well, actually, I have I did my master degree on Iran. That was the fashion at that time. I think it was 1982, 83, if I remember well. So it was the Islam and politics in Iran before the Iranian Revolution. So like thousands of other students. And that's the way I met the person I was going to meet in Tehran, because we basically wrote the dissertation together. That's my first and last moment on Iran. Then after I was at Strasbourg University, I moved to Paris. And then some years after I started, I was already working. But I restart my postgraduate studies to get my PhD. On that time, that was on the Horn of Africa. That was on civil war in Africa with a focus on the Horn, which is how I became recruited by the National Center for Scientific Research, and so I worked quite long on for quite some years on Sudan, Somalia, Eritrea, Djibouti, Ethiopia a bit, and then I extended after 2000 on Central Africa with Chad and Central African Republic.
Did the IRGC use your background as an excuse to arrest you?
It was something complicated because my feeling, my opinion is, at first they believed that it was this background was a legend, that actually I was working on Iran, but I had to hide it to everyone, so including my own colleagues at the university, everyone. And so they say that I was managing a ring of spies in Iran, and that I was a very good expert on Iranian politics and so on. I think they had the problem of how could someone who knew a bit about Iran not be working on Iran? Because, as good Iranians, they believe that Iran was the center of the universe, which of course is not. We all know that is the small city center of France that is the center of the universe. So basically, so that's when the funny thing in that disaster was that at the beginning, in my interrogators claim I was working for the French Secret Services, but by the end of June, when they were talking to the French embassy in Tehran, they were saying that I was working for CIA. So, I had already too many business cards in my poor hands, but still I stay prisoner. So the story changed, and they never really, I doubt they believe I was really working on Iran, but that, I think they were testing, maybe they were learning their own methods of interrogation, and as well, they were just spending time. I think it was a training for some of those officers.
Yeah, so I understand that, at least from other hostages, they say that if an interrogator gets you to confess to something you didn't do, they get rewarded. There is an incentive for them. They get promoted, because now we've got a good prisoner we can use as a pawn, as a bargaining chip. We've got him to confess to something on camera that he didn't really do. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, actually, you have at the very end of my stay, I was released on Nowruz, so it was Friday, 20th March 2020. But on Thursday afternoon, I was expecting to go to court, and so on. And I hadn't had interviews or interrogation for quite some weeks. So they came to me and they say, you will have a new interrogation session, but this time you need to wear your civilian clothes. So I was put in a room with big lamps and camera, and so they were recording a very long interrogation that lasted for hours by my two main interrogators. So related to my career, my links with intelligence agencies, and then about the condition of my detention. I think they wanted to have a record, especially on the condition in which I have been detained, in case in programs as used, I would claim something different.
So I understand they did something similar to Dr. Kylie Moore Gilbert, the British-Australian academic as well. They recorded a video and they used that as propaganda to air on Iranian state TV and support this false narrative.
Yeah, it's more than propaganda. It's memory, institutional memory. I think they do for every detainees in that part of Evin, because I was detained in a section of Evin. Evin is a major prison in Tehran. But you have different wings, and one is where you have the more people are detainees who have been sentenced. I wasn't sentenced. I actually didn't go to court, but I was taken in a wing that was fully controlled by the Pasdaran, and there was actually the intelligence service of the Pasdaran. And for all people who were there, the prospect, what I learned is the prospect will be that at one point you will go to this session with camera, and you will have to answer all kind of, basically it's a kind of summary of all questions that have come up in your different interrogations. For me, that was months of interrogation. That may explain why it was so long. A part of it was very civilian, I would say, not hostile to me. Another part was very hostile to me. On the third part, they mentioned that I should speak freely, and that they didn't want to interfere with whatever assessment I had on my detention conditions. So it was quite strange, I must say, because when I did so, I wasn't aware that it was my last day or my in jail. So for me, I was just waiting the court that was planned to take place a month and a half after.
So for our listeners, Pasdaran is another name for the IRGC, the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard. So you mentioned Evin Prison. Evin Prison is notorious for its deplorable conditions, for torture, for just general abuse of prisoners. There was a hacker group that recently hacked the CCTV of Evin Prison, and it was on the news. They showed the guards just beating on prisoners. Can you talk to us about the deplorable conditions you were being held in within Evin Prison?
Okay, we have to be, again, I'm an academic, so I have to pay a lot of attention to the truth. The truth is, I suffer a lot. Never ever they touch me. I suffer a lot because I happen to be slightly claustrophobic. So which means that if you put me in a small room, I don't care to be alone, but I care about daylight, about space. And if you put me in a very small cell with 24 hours artificial light, no way to see the sky, then I get panic. And so I lose control of my body. I start crying. I start suffocating. And so I had a number of crises due to that. I requested many times to be transferred in a place where I could have daylight and so on. They always refused. But compared to other jail conditions in other countries, I doubt that is the worst. Now, concerning torture, I haven't been tortured. I was at different moment because I changed several times of cell. I was put with other Iranians and sometimes foreigners, people who were accused to be Daeshi, and none in the jail I was were declared that they were torture. It doesn't mean anything. It's what you have to understand is it just mean what I said, and it means that there were many other cells where people could have been tortured or could not have been tortured. I have no idea, but we were so isolated that it was extremely difficult to have any sense of what was happening beyond the walls of our cell or the walls of my cell. You hardly hear any noise. You know what you when you are alone in the cell, you have to walk blinded. So it's very difficult. As I said, I suffer quite a lot psychologically because of this. But physically, I never ever anyone touched me in a hostile manner. And for those who were with me, there were allegations about someone who died in jail, that he died because of torture, but it was an allegation. Again, I'm an academic, so I have to say you need a proper investigation. And I know at one point I had to undertake a small hunger strike. And then the guards were actually very concerned because my health wasn't good, was actually pretty declining at that moment. And they are the ones who called the Pasdaran to convince me to stop. So I got eventually an evening, someone came, I had a discussion with him about why I was doing my hunger strike, and he explained my situation. It's the first moment I learned that the idea of exchange was again in the agenda. And then I stopped because I didn't want to die, and they didn't want, and I knew that for them it wasn't really the most important.
So when you say you learn about the exchange, this was when an interrogator took you aside and said you were being held to put pressure on the French government to release an Iranian engineer arrested in France for violating sanctions.
Yeah, it's actually not exactly what I was told. What I was told is I wouldn't get any book. I wouldn't get any special treatment because I had a few advantage for sometimes. I wouldn't be allowed to call my family. I wasn't able to call my family, I think, in 9 months and a half, maybe 3 times. And they said that though they promised that I will be able to call every week or 2 weeks, it never happened. And they say I would not be allowed anyway, because my detention condition should mirror what this Iranian detainee was facing in France. So it was a good reason. It was very rational. And when you are in a situation where everything seems completely arbitrary and irrational, to have some sense suddenly in why people behave, the way people behave in front of you, then it's something like, refreshing. It makes you feel that, you're not completely mad, and the system is not so absurd.
Again, we're very sorry for what you had to go through in Evin prison and in Iran in general. You also mentioned in other interviews that you didn't have a sense of time. You couldn't tell whether it's what time of the day it was, and you were also losing your memory in prison. And when you were freed, you mentioned that you started watching movies and news just to kind of regain that memory. Are you able to talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, well, basically, it's something very well known by all psychologists. Is when you put in, you cut from your normal environment, you lose part of your memory, a number of facts or names related to my work. I said the name of certain African presidents, for instance. I suddenly wasn't able to remember names of people I met in conferences when I traveled here or there. So suddenly everything became like blank. I knew that I should have remembered, but I wasn't able, and I wasn't lying to my interrogators. I was just unable. And this is largely due to the condition of your detention. You don't have anything to do. You're cut from everything. As I said, you under drugs. I was under drugs because I wouldn't have survived without them. And so you get. You get a sense that you're only a body trying to survive your detention, and And to a certain extent, what happened in September, nearly this moment of the year 2 years ago, I was transferred in a better room. There was a window, so I could have daylight, a very small backyard I could walk in. And as well, one of the detainees, there were two, but one has a perfect English and had a long experience of being in Evin and explained me how the system, who were the people who had arrested me, where I was staying in Evin, and what was the role of my lawyer. I couldn't understand I couldn't meet my lawyer. Oh, actually, I met my lawyer, but we weren't able to discuss my case. He was just asking me questions about my health. And I wanted to understand why those people were keeping asking stupid questions about what I was doing, and why I couldn't discuss the facts, the precise prosecution, and so on. And he told me that basically this lawyer is powerless. He's just there to give a sense that you're around, so he could maybe communicate to the embassy or to my family. My family never heard of him, and but the embassy, yes, was aware, and he was just trying to check that I wasn't collapsing in jail.
So you bring up your lawyer, and I know that the problem with the Iranian judiciary is people don't get to select their lawyer themselves. The lawyer has to be pre-approved by the judiciary, and these pre-approved lawyers tend to be quite biased. So when it came to your lawyer, were you able to select an independent and objective lawyer for yourself, or was it selected for you?
No, it's very complicated. You have you have a list of lawyers who are accredited to political cases or intelligence or whatever, security. I don't know the way it's framed in Persian. And so my institution, the CNRS, my research institution, paid for the lawyer. The lawyer was actually contracted through the French embassy in Tehran, but he worked through another lawyer who spent quite some time trying to meet me at Evin and who wasn't allowed. So I didn't know at first, but when I was released, so I was very sure. First, I'm an academic. In my whole life, I have been once in a case for defamation, and I won the case. That's my only contact with the judicial system in France or anywhere. So I wasn't really an expert on that, but I was shocked by the fact that I wasn't allowed to talk to him about my case, and he didn't seem to be very interested talking about the case. And so when I was released, they explained me that actually the lawyer first hadn't the right to raise the case with me. And that up to Christmas, which means nearly more than 6 months, my case was just one page on which was written my name and my birth date. Nothing else. Then the lawyer, basically was tasked with checking my health. And there were moments where the situation wasn't very good for me. And so he tried to come. He come several times. He come for 2 weeks, trying to meet me just a few seconds, a few minutes, just to check. And he wasn't allowed. So I think in his own way, he tried to help a lot. He got humiliated very often, and but never ever we had a legal discussion, a discussion you could have with your attorney, talking about your case. There was a moment in which we met, and I in front of my main interrogator, I asked to discuss my case. And then the interrogator said that wasn't possible. And then I start arguing, saying that I have taught, Sharia law, about Sharia law, my students. And then this is not Islam. This is absolutely contrary to Sharia law. And then he was a bit unhappy with the comments. So he said that Iran was different, and that, and basically the meeting was stopped. I was brought back to my cell for the arrogance of my behavior. But this is very difficult situation. The lawyer, as you said, sometimes they are not so independent, and sometimes whatever they try to do, they face so many difficulties, so many pressure, that they just have to complain with the system that is not really fair in any sense.
So were you actually sentenced, or what was the charge?
Well, exactly, I do not remember anymore. That was, attempt to disturb the state security. I don't know really. Then, the thing is, I couldn't see. I went over the years, maybe I don't know, less than 6, maybe eight times to Iran. I stay mostly a week maximum. So I had problem to see what Iran is such a fragile state that a tourist came 8 times and is able to affect the security of the country. But I didn't know on which fact this allegation was made. Okay, and that was what, as I explained just before, why I wanted to talk about my case with my lawyer. I met the judge in early February for just maybe 20 minutes. He basically was obsessed with my lawyer and who was paying my lawyer, and whether my lawyer was paid in franc currency, Iranian currency. And then when I start asking about my case, he said, "This is not the moment. You will come in a few weeks." And I was supposed to go to the judge early March. And I was brought to the court, to the revolutionary court, but actually I stayed in the car, and I wasn't allowed to get out of the car, and I wasn't brought to the judge. Then I was told that the judge got sick, got infected by COVID-19. And that anyway, when I was in jail, I was just said that my case would be discussed sometimes just after Nowruz, and then it became end of April. And so I was never in court and never sentenced, which I have been expelled from Iran. I'm not. For those people, I'm not innocent. I guess I'm guilty because that's basically what what they wanted me to be. But which means that I can't go back to Iran as well, because they could put me in jail again and restart the whole process.
Were you ever, or did you feel that you were at risk of getting COVID-19?
Well, we knew something was getting wrong from February. Some of our guards got panicked by this, but we didn't know much. I think the first time we got mention of it was after the parliamentary elections in Iran, because Ayatollah Khamenei made a speech to comment the result and the low rate of votation, and then said that people use this fake argument of this sickness, specific sickness. I don't even remember whether he mentioned the name. And that was the first time I heard about it. Then the guards were panicked, but it was a moment I was nearly alone, so I didn't know anything. It's later on when I was released, because I had I needed surgery. It was extremely painful. And as I said, the guards were taking care of me, and so they proposed me to go to an hospital. And I didn't want to go because I wanted my embassy first to be aware that I was moved to an hospital because I didn't want to disappear. And so eventually, after weeks of shouting in my cell because it was extremely painful, I was able to meet the French consul. So I asked for the embassy clearance to go to that specific hospital, which happened to be a good hospital. I didn't know, but later on I was told it was a very decent hospital. And the French embassy actually never sent me the green light, not because they thought they knew I needed the surgery, but they knew that hospital in Iran were the most dangerous places because of COVID-19. So I had to keep my pain for months before I went back to France, and then even in France it took me 3 weeks before I could get surgery again because of COVID-19 and the fact that it wasn't vital. So therefore, even despite all pain, they say you have to manage, and because they thought maybe hospital will be overwhelmed, and so the beds should be kept for those people.
When you were in Evin prison, you shared your cell with some environmentalists.
Indeed.
Now, there are lots of foreign and dual nationals that are still being held in Evin prison and in other prisons in Iran. Can you just talk to us briefly about the ones that you met when you were in prison, including these environmentalists?
Okay, I have one thing maybe that is difficult to understand from outside is I don't speak Persian. I know a few words like anybody, but really I wasn't fluent at all in Persian, which means I had a lot of problems communicating with everybody. So including the guards. At the beginning of my stay in this wonderful place, I didn't know that I had to wash my plates. I had to ask for shower, those kind of things, and so I had to ask for clothes to change. And which made my life extremely difficult for the first week because I hadn't the feeling to be clean on me. I hadn't, so many other things. So slowly, and I was alone. I was in isolation, complete isolation for weeks and weeks. So later, I was moved to different cells. So eventually, I could speak to people who knew some English, sometimes very good English, because they were absolutely fluent, or maybe nationally related to UK or USA. And others were learned in Iran and knew enough to explain me. As I said, they were for me a great support because they explained me so many basic things I hadn't understood, like the condition in my cell, what I have to do in front of the guards, what I shouldn't do in front of the guards, what I could request from them, what I shouldn't request from them, and the logic, if any, of this very arbitrary system. So those people were in jail for more than 20 months when I met them. They were in very bad shape. They eventually went to court when I was with them, at least two of them. And really, it was a pure illustration of what they had told me beforehand, in the sense that their lawyer wasn't allowed to enter the court to attend their and to advise them on their answer, the answers to the questions by the judge. Even at the time of the sentence, the lawyer was not allowed inside. So you had a number of behavior which were, not exactly, I would say, usual for anybody, like me, not studying Iran and not knowing much about the Pasdaran. And this helped me, I would say, paradoxically, because it showed me that, I wouldn't have to behave, or I wouldn't have to assume rationality up to the time the sentence was pronounced, and up to the time I was put in a normal jail with normal people, and then maybe the system would get more rational and less arbitrary.
There was a media campaign calling for your release, a public media campaign. This was led by the Free Roland Support Committee. Now, I know the concept of support committees is pretty unique to France and was created by a former French hostage, so that if families were coerced into keeping quiet about a hostage case, this independent support committee, staffed by friends, colleagues, and activists, would lead the public campaign calling for the hostages' release. And if someone intimidated the family or told them off, they could just say, well, we didn't do anything. It's this independent support committee. We don't control them. So can you talk to us about what a support committee is? Because based on my experience as a campaigner, campaigning with many hostage families, this is a very good concept, and it is very helpful to the families and to the hostages themselves. And it would be good to see this kind of support committee replicated in other countries as well. Could you just explain to us what a support committee is?
Okay, what happened is we were two French academics arrested at the same time because of the same case, which is very much the person with whom I was eventually exchanged. Our colleagues we were part of the same research laboratory. And so our friends and colleagues here, where I am today, mobilize themselves, try to, get support. And because we are part of certain professional associations, those associations at the European level played as well a role trying to promote attention to our case. This was done largely independently of my family and of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Actually, the concept was that this committee will exist by itself, would have actually few contacts with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, more contact with my brothers I have a brother living in Paris who was connecting with them from time to time. But the thing was basically that they were working by themselves. It came at a time, and I think that's maybe one reason this committee was more successful than others, where the academic freedom are under threat in many countries in the world. And that was seen as just one more illustration of this dynamic, very dangerous trend. So therefore, they did act with the press. They did answer a lot of questions. They did provide data whenever necessary. They did talk about our case. I was slightly on the margin for one reason, which is that having nothing to do with Iran, maybe except for the PASDA, but having nothing to do with Iran, my government saw that I was kind of collateral damage, and I would be released easily and without a very expensive price, let us say. So actually, there were different attempts to release me very early on in July, in September. Notably, there may have been another one before this release in March 2020. And the concept was, let us not talk about his detention so that, it doesn't raise the price. And is what my colleague did for quite some months, except that eventually in mid-October 2019, a French journalist, published an article mentioning that I was the second French academic to be in jail, actually in the same place as the first one. And so, but yes, this support committee was exceptional in many ways, and I think we have to thank many of my colleagues here in Paris, but as well in France and in Europe, who used their connection with journalists to make sure that the case would not be forgotten. The French government, I must add, did his part. I'm not discussing Africa on French policy towards the African continent. I'm known to be very critical of the French policy, but I should say that on this very case, the French government, and especially the president, did everything possible to release us, and I hope he will continue to do that, because still one is in jail in Tehran.
So you call yourself an academic hostage. State-sponsored hostage-taking, also known as hostage diplomacy, is growing, and the Iranian regime are not the only ones doing this. We've seen this with the Chinese, Russians, and Venezuelans as well. It's one of the main reasons I started this podcast, the reasons why it's called Port Hostage Diplomacy, because I wanted to highlight this growing unacceptable trend. So when you were held, many people, especially in the French government and media, were reluctant to call you a hostage. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, the point is, when you negotiate, you don't negotiate. It's like what just happened in Canada. Diplomatically, it wasn't the best approach to talk to the Iranian authorities. I say I was an academic hostage basically because the allegations about my other jobs, other occupation, spying because I had a number of business cards, thanks to the imagination and the paranoia of this Pasdar, is largely based on the fact that if you meet a foreign diplomat, it means that you're working for his country or her country, and therefore you have to be a spy. And I was trying to explain them that that's part of my work. I'm in countries facing civil war, so usually there is some kind of international intervention, either diplomatically or militarily. So you have to talk to everyone, and I did that, like many of my colleagues. And but for them wasn't enough. It was too much. I would say. So they had. At one point, I tried to. In a meeting with the council, I say, you have to organize a meeting with those people to tell them what is our job, what is usual for us to do, so that they don't get excited for wrong reasons. But is where I have this very contradictory feeling that on one side, my interrogators weren't stupid people, so I doubt that they did not understand what I was saying. On the other side, they were so paranoid about everything that any email or any meeting could be over-interpreted, and it's one thing we teach in our universities. You shouldn't over-interpret facts. You should see them for what they are, and not bring a big conspiracy just because you get something that may surprise you. But so that was most of the allegations they made on me was based on my profession, the fact that I'm an academic. Now, Iran is proud of at least Iranian authorities are proud of the Iranian rule of law, whatever way we call it here. And so certainly to talk to them, the best way is certainly not to start using names such as hostage. They always believe that they are right. They believe their system is the best in the world, which happen in many countries in the world, including mine. But as we know, it's small and big countries. It could be the Gulf states. You haven't mentioned them. I have still remember how problematic the freedom of speech and the academic freedom is in those countries. I believe this is really a huge problem today. And as I said at the very beginning, the trend is actually very problematic and is very negative.
So you bring up a good point that when you're speaking to the Iranian authorities themselves, you can't use the word hostage because it makes diplomatic negotiations harder. And I've seen the same case with Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe, the British hostage in Iran. Now, former UK Foreign Secretary Jack Straw said the same thing on a radio interview. He said she is a hostage, but you can't call her a hostage publicly, or at least the government can't do it, because then it makes negotiations harder with the hostage-taking country, the country that took the hostage. And it's the same thing with the United States. They have a specific office within the State Department called the U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Hostage Affairs. Now, it's good that they're naming the problem, and that is absolutely necessary. But the problem is, the country that takes our citizens hostage, they don't want to meet with this person, because by meeting with this person, they acknowledge that they have hostages. So you bring up a very good point, that even though you were a hostage, the government can't call you a hostage because the country that took you hostage wants to save face or doesn't want to admit that. And it therefore makes negotiations harder. Now, I know you said you're very grateful for the French government for bringing you home, for securing your release, that they did everything they could. Do you believe that there's anything they should be doing better when it comes to cases like yours, for existing cases and for the future?
Really, I don't know. And I would say, even if I knew, I'm not sure I would mention it, because one thing that, when you talk with people in my condition, you have to realize, when I was released, I didn't know anything, absolutely anything about what had happened in France with the support committee, what the French diplomacy did to help my release. And it took me weeks and I would say even months to learn from my friends, my family, my colleagues, to learn pieces here and there, trying to, rebuild a narrative about what happened once I was detained in Iran. What I can tell you about the wars in my jail. Few people I met, I was able to talk to. And the food, my clothes, that's all. My interrogators, but I hadn't any, I talked to my family all in all, maybe not even 5 minutes in 9 months and a half. I didn't know anything. I just knew that they were alive. And so it's very difficult afterwards to, rebuild the whole history, because, of course, the French diplomats won't say much about what they did and what were the actual terms of negotiations. And then the others, they know, part and parcel of the story. And so you have to be careful not to, again, yourself go into the big narrative, while actually things might have been quite simpler. So I'm still in a situation where I don't say much, and I don't pretend to know, because really everything I have learned seems have its own gray zone of personal belief more than facts. And this is another thing that is very painful with time, is that you can't rebuild this past. Something has disappeared and escaped from you, and whatever you try to make sense why I lost 9 months and a half of my life, for what reason a number of things happened, is something I won't have any answer, because I'm not sure someone knows, and the few who may know a part of the answers, they won't talk to me anymore.
Again, we're very sorry for the trauma you experienced and the other hostages as well. And we're doing everything from our side to raise awareness of this issue and to mobilize people to help out. Based on what you've pieced together and the fact that you had this great support committee that was able to mobilize people within France and other countries as well, around the world, basically, do you think there's anything else the French media or the public can do to help? What are your thoughts?
It's very difficult. I don't know. Really, I don't know. It's the I'm not part of the support committee for my colleague, and I want people to understand. Of course, I care very much about her fate. I don't want to be part, because from time to time, when I start thinking and reflecting on what has been happening, I may get enraged and lose the minimum of lucidity and fair play and be irresponsible. So I do not want to be irresponsible, because what is at stake is no more my life, is her life. Okay, so it's again something I think you have different levels, and on one level today it's easier to tackle, to address publicly, is certainly the fact that academic freedoms are under threat in many countries, not only authoritarian countries or well-known countries like Iran, but in countries like UAE or Saudi Arabia or Turkey and so on. And we have to mention the list is getting longer day after day, and we have to do something to protect the academics, not on this freedom, not because we need to protect ourselves. Yes, indeed. But largely because academic freedom means a certain level of freedom of speech, and means as well the ability to feed and inform the public debate about collective choices, and this is what academia should do. Is not only the only thing academia should do, but is certainly one of its duties, and these duties is increasingly under threat.
Roland, we're almost at the end of our interview. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
I think, one aspect I really regret, because when our support committee, maybe because it was European, he had a relation with a number of academics from other countries near Europe, pay immediately attention to other detainees, as in Turkey, for instance, because what happened in Turkey university is extremely concerning. And one thing which really hurt me is I saw, sometimes we saw people supporting us because it was Iran. Those people would have stayed silent had it been UAE or Saudi Arabia. And so I believe, when I talk about academic freedom, it's a global thing. It's not restricted to a number of countries. It's certainly not restricted to Western countries. And even in Western countries, even in my country, from time to time, we have difficult questions to ask our ministry or on our authorities. So I think the point to which I would like people to remember is this focus or this stress on this emphasis on academic freedom doesn't mean that only academics should be protected. It's just a way, an entry point to discuss the increased limitation of freedom of speech and freedom of opinion in many countries in the world. And this is something that we have to confront and we have to fight against. Thank you.
Roland, as I said at the beginning, we are very happy that you're home. I know it can be quite traumatic talking about your experience in Iran. So thank you for speaking to us today. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Port Hostage Diplomacy. We're not just a podcast, we're a community. If you're on Twitter and would like to post a message of solidarity to the families or have any questions for us, please tweet it using the hashtag Port Hostage Diplomacy and we'll get back to you. If you like what we're trying to do, please do consider supporting the show financially. You can do this using the Support the Show link in the description of this podcast episode. We're grateful for any contributions, no matter how small. Thanks again for listening, and we'll be back next week. Take care.